Newport. Here. Dekalb Hernandez. Here. Rick Smith.
Here.
Howard Solomon.
Here.
Board would rise for the pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight we start with public participation and recognition. And first is the acceptance of gifts and donations. This is an action item. That the Board of Education accept with gratitude the donation of a NetApp SAN FAS 8040 filler with 51 or 512 gigabyte flash cache, 3 shelves of 600 gigabytes SAS disk, 8 shelves of 1 TB, I should have you read this, SATA disk from Illini Cloud. The total cost of the donation is estimated to be $180,000.
Wow.
And the Board of Education accept with gratitude the donation of 2 checks from Gordon Kreshek for $1,000 and $2,000, which represent his contribution to a Dekalb High School scholarship fund that recognizes senior student athletes and honors the memory of his daughter, Carrie. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Discussion, please.
Oh, yeah.
There was a letter there from Mr. Kreshek indicating that he wants to be informed of balances. I'd like to make sure that that obligation is disseminated to staff so that it's taken care
And that actually goes through the bar boosters, and they do communicate with him
of. Okay.
on a regular basis, so.
Thank you.
Ray Davis,
Yes.
Jeff Algren,
Yes.
Terry Malak,
Yes.
Victoria Newport,
Yes.
Dekalb Hernandez. Yes. Rick Smith, Howard Solomon.
Yes.
And is Ben here?
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, I just wanted to say thanks on behalf of the Illini Cloud. And this also helps us offset, if you remember when we did the budget presentation, there's that $400,000 line item that was coming up. That actually helps us reduce that by half. So they actually offset us for the future as well as currently, so.
Any background of this thing? I mean, that's a chunk of change, almost 200K.
Yeah.
And where did that come from? I mean, this is consortium, right? Maybe you could fill everyone in on what Illini Cloud is.
Yeah, so Illini Cloud is a consortium where the Northern Illinois top of the Illini Cloud, the middle district is Bloomington, the southern district is Murfreesboro. So it's basically a cloud-based platform for offsite backup for school districts. So it's built by school districts, for school districts, and public entities to help offset the costs of basically backup. So they had been a production system with the Illini Cloud, in which it was decommissioned to move to a cheaper solution down the road. And since they were basically writing it off the books, we were able to put it on ours because it still had value and was going to be able to offset our costs down the road. So it made sense to be able to integrate it into our infrastructure and put it online. So that's what we did.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
Any other questions? Next, we have recognition of students from Dekalb High School French program. And the Board of Education recognizes the outstanding achievement of the talented group of students who represented the French program at DHS during the first Franconomic Youth Theater Festival in Chicago on April 22nd through the 23rd of 2017. In September of 2016, the group got together for the first time to discuss the plans. 7 months later, after several hours of reading and translating French text, working on French pronunciation, rehearsing the play, and creating set and props, the DHS team presented the adaptation of Candid by Victoria in French, along with the students from DePaul University, Marie Curie High School, Lincoln Park High School, Latin School of Chicago, Whitney M. Young High School, Francis Park High School, and Round Lake High School. The presentations by Dekalb High School, directed by French teacher Natalia Zimmerman, earned the main award of the festival for Best Play. Congratulations to our talented actors. Hi, come on up if you'd like to introduce your group, that would be great.
Go ahead. Well, it was the first French-speaking event. It was the very first ever theater festival in this country, Francophone French Theater Festival, which was in Chicago and represented Candide by there. And this is the part of a group, so the students who were part of the group, it was French 3 and French 4 students. And it was the whole group of 15 of us. And here I would like to introduce our actors, because we had also our own crew for the costume and prop. And I will start with the main character, our French 4 student, Katrina Baum, Candide. And then I have French 3 students, and I have Paul Anderson, who plays several roles, and he was a violin also in the play. Francisca Planes, who also had a couple of roles, French 3 student. Then I have Catherine Sharp. She played one of the main role, Cunégonde, and she was Jacques in the play. Lorena Robles, who had a very important role of Cacambo, the servant of Candide, and I have a great narrator, one of 2 narrators, that was Stephanie Vasquez, also French 3 students. I would like also to name the other actors who were not able to come today. So in the French 3 class, we had Clay Ward. In French 4 class, Genjo Kajcik, May Hoff, Colette Leblanc, Ming Ling, Phoebe Palmer, and also we were probably the only one group who had our own, as I say, tech crew who created props, costumes, and did the music. And in this group, we had Anna Arnold from French 4, Emma Conway from French 4, and Shirley West, who helped us to do the music. And I would like to thank our community and our school, and also particular Mr. Horn for continuous support of the French program. And I'm really proud of our school and our students. Thank you.
Very good. Great job. Thanks so much. See you up here.
Thank you for coming tonight. Great job. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Erickson, do you want to come in with your group? This is our interharmonic fusion group who just got back from New York City, did a fabulous job. So I'll read here and then we'll so Dekalb High School's a cappella ensemble in harmonic fusion competed in the International Championships of High School a cappella on April 20th, 2017 at the Town Hall Auditorium in New York City, New York. In harmonic fusion finished in 2nd place overall and was additionally recognized for most outstanding choreography. Senior Grace Klonowski was recognized as most outstanding soloist. Grace is right here. It's most outstanding. And junior Mark Jesmer was selected as top vocal percussionist from the 9 final groups to perform for the combined group performance. So the group would like to sincerely thank the community for their tremendous support in helping them compete and travel this season. They would also like to thank the Wurlitzer Foundation and the Dekalb Education Foundation for their grant support towards a portable microphone system for the group. Group members are Emma Carpenter, Daniel Delap, Destiny Feliciano, Katie Hagman, Hope Jesmer, Mark Jesmer, Ashley Kelly, Grace Klinowski, Olivia Klinowski, Devontae Merrick, Andrew Olson, Ian Pinkey, Aaron Pope, Ben Rodriguez, Richie Spawn, Ben Vance, Grace Verbeck, Lizzie Warner, and they are directed by Travis Erickson. So congratulations. Experience in New York, and I know this is your 3rd year going.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. We've got a couple that can talk about a few things. First of all, we have a few students tell you about the competition. This is the 3rd year that the seniors have been to the national finals, so they've advanced previous 2 years. But this year, I think they will tell you a little bit about how they felt like they were the most prepared they've ever been, and that really made a difference. They had a goal to place. They weren't expecting to place because all the groups there are really, really good, and we felt really honored to just get them even close to the recognition that they did. But I'll let them talk a little bit about that. So, Ian, you want to tell us a little about the competition?
Yeah, sure. The competition, like, it gets really intense, like starting back at the high school for our quarterfinal, and kind of all the intensity really progresses when we get like 2 finals. And I would say the last 2 years, when we went to New York to compete for the finals, I wouldn't say we didn't have like as intense of a goal as we did this year. In the previous 2 years of experience we've gathered, I think this year definitely put us at the next level that newcoming groups just like, they just didn't have the experience we did. So I think the last 2 years with the help we got to be able to get there really helped us with the results this year.
Yes.
The competition this year was so much fun. I think as a group it was our favorite part of the whole trip. We met so many cool people and groups, and we never quite had an experience like this year. We were able to travel to a lot of places that gave us insight on how to compete, really improve our skills this year. We've never done this. So.
We were all really excited. I think most of us probably were most excited for the competition than anything else. And we really went in like with as much focus and as much intensity as we possibly could, because we went in with our goal to do as well as we can. Mr. Erickson always tells us to just leave whatever we can on stage, just do the absolute best we can. And I think that we achieved that this year.
The students also, we all need to say an incredible thank you to the community. There were so many people that donated money so that they could afford to go. We had a lot of students from various backgrounds, and the trip is not cheap, and we also have to plan it very quickly. And so we just wanted to recognize the students, and I do first that we're really fortunate to be in a community that supports these kinds of things, and also that just supports these kinds of opportunities in our schools. I was talking with them outside before we came in, and just sort of wondering, how many of you had your first music experience in the Dekalb school setting? And how many of you would say that an experience such as being maybe in a elementary musical or a middle school musical or a middle school jazz ensemble or a middle school junior magical was a formative experience that helped really set the tone for you to be part of something like this? So you can see what we're supporting and doing in our school makes this possible down the road. Also, what makes this possible is what we already mentioned: incredible support for the Wurlitzer Foundation and the Dekalb Education Foundation. This year, Hope Jesmer, 2 students, and Katie Hagman, 53, and Richie Spawn helped me write a grant for microphones for us to use on a regular basis, because what we discovered is we thought that we sounded really amazing, and then we would get to the competition and we would kind of come down a notch in terms of the quality of performance. And what we learned is that the other groups that we were losing out to are using microphones every day. And we would only have access to them once every 2 weeks in our auditorium because of the availability. So the students helped me write a grant that was very successful. We got $8,000 towards a $13,000 project, and we're able to get microphones that we can use every day in the classroom. And that, I think, has made a huge difference. So, do you have any comments about that? Hope?
Just being able to use them like every year in preparation for the trip, that would be the scariest part about performing. Is like, oh my gosh, the microphones are different. But this year, being able to pick up microphones in different settings, and like when we picked them up in dress rehearsals and stuff, it was almost second nature through concert practice, and I think that was totally integral to being able to get to the level that we got to this year. Is making a big difference for us.
So we are really indebted to the support from these foundations and from the district, which helped us find some funds to make up the difference in that grant. We also want to thank Ms. Carson and the buildings ground, the whole custodial staff, because we have this amazing facility and we're able to host these a cappella events in our facility because of the support that we get from them to clean up after these events and the whole year. These students see not only other great high school groups, and it saves us a lot of money, and we have the advantage of practicing in the space we compete in, but we also bring in, I don't know if you're aware of this, but we're one of the only high schools in the entire country where they host college a cappella competitions, and so they get to watch the next level of groups perform in our very own space. And this year they got asked to be the host group, which opened for the college competition and performed during deliberation, which not many high school groups get to do that. It's an invaluable experience and a really great opportunity. And without the support of our custodial staff, that surely wouldn't happen as well. So we're really thankful and grateful for that support addition. So anyway, we could keep going. They do have things to sing if you want to hear that this evening, but if you've got a lot to go on to, we can. The first and third song from our performance set. We tried, the students and I, one of the hardest things is choosing what we're going to sing and trying to find songs that will have an impact on the audience. And this year, I was really impressed by our young people in terms of how in tune and aware they were, and affected, impacted, and how conscious they were of sort of the political turmoil that had come out of the election, and aware of all of the different types of perspectives. And so they sort of chose pieces that have to do with just in general how politics is affecting their lives right now and have been. So the first song is called Freedom, and then the second song, which we probably won't sing because of time today, is called Seriously, and the third song is The Light Never Fails. So this is our first song, which is called Freedom. And we have a trio of soloists. If you guys can come forward with it. This is Ben Vance, Destiny, and Grace Muskie.
One, two, three, oh!
Trying to break nothing till the stone come new. I don't want to march on the regular, anybody like you. God forgive me, I've been running my daily truth. I'm already on the spirit, till the spirit of you. Ooh, I'm telling these tears will fall away, oh. May the last one burn into flames. Freedom, freedom, I can't move. Freedom, cut me loose. Freedom, freedom, where are you? I need freedom too. I break chains all by myself. We'll get my freedom right in hell, yeah. Hey, I'ma keep running 'cause the women don't quit on themselves. I'm away through the water till the tide don't move. Tide don't move. I'ma ride through your borders. Only bulletproof. Oh, God forgive me, I've been running with a blazing ooh. Oh, I'm away through your shadow till the deep gonna burn it to
Freedom, cut me loose. Hey, freedom, I need freedom too.
I break chains about myself.
Get my freedom right, hey.
I'ma keep running cause when it don't quit, I'm saying yeah. Oh, 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 I break chains about myself.
Get my freedom right, hey. I'ma keep running cause the winner don't quit on themselves. Winner, 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 winner don't quit on themselves.
When the cold bites your bones and gets in your heart, it can make you feel hopeless. Fear will come to steal your sun and make it dark. But don't believe you're lonely. We are in those moments when our shoulders sink and we sit back and think we could just run. Chase the rain light. Never letting go. Oh, no. I'm asking you to me all your breath and say you'll never come again. We were born to follow. Never scared to fight, scared to climb, afraid to die. But I can be your courage and help you see that you already won this. We are in those moments when our head hangs low. We question if you should go. Turn back and born to chase we're not born to fall. We're not born to chase
Thank you for asking. Yes, if you'd like to know more of this, they're doing their final performance on May 30th at Dekalb High School at 8 o'clock. If you'd like to hear more of their more songs to sing them. So love to see you doing the blessing. It's really
Could you guys do that at every board meeting?
Thank you again for having me.
Next, we have public comment. Members of the public who wish to speak to the board should complete a request card prior to the meeting. This section of the meeting will be reserved for comments from the public. All comments should be limited to 3 minutes. Criticism of individuals is not intended. Lisa Gorshow and kindergarten class sizes.
It's hard to go after that. Never mind. My public comment is being made to shine the light on our high student numbers in our kindergarten classrooms. The DeKalb County Community Foundation has made kindergarten readiness their focus. And what is clear is that in addition to many of the other factors that impact our incoming kinders, of which we have no control, there is the fact that we have 28 kindergartners in most of our classrooms across the district to one teacher. The high numbers coupled with the other factors, no school experience, low SES, high social emotional needs, make it nearly impossible for our very skilled teachers to meet the needs of some of our youngest learners in the district. So please, let's keep this on our radar to problem solve, as these high numbers have unfortunately become our new normal in DeKalb. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Next we have Kate Cordella, and she's also class size.
I don't know how I'm gonna follow that. Thank you for the opportunity to speak briefly tonight. I hope that in doing so, I begin a conversation about class size that we can continue throughout the summer and into the school year. And I realize that your brains probably went immediately to money and space, but I respectfully ask that you suspend those thoughts while you hear my viewpoint. Recently, a group of kindergarten and first grade teachers in the district got together to discuss our class sizes and the need for a change. We are painfully aware of the impact that putting 28 5- or 6-year-olds can have in a classroom. I've had years with 28 5-year-olds in my kindergarten classroom. And in August, it only feels like having 56. Kindergarten is a very busy place. Those first few weeks are amazingly exciting and exhausting. And in fact, in weeks to come, you all might be receiving invitations to join our classrooms as we begin the next school year. We'd like for you to experience what we experience. When I have 28 children in my classroom, I feel like what I give is never enough. Like I am just unable to meet the social and emotional needs of my kids, as well as best help them reach their goals based on the academic demands we face. So many of our kids live in homes where their parents are struggling to make ends meet, sometimes working 2 jobs, and we as teachers come to work to teach, but also to fill in the blanks to make sure our students' basic needs are met so they can focus on their learning. I'd like to end my time here tonight on a positive note. This year I was fortunate enough to have a class with a maximum of 22 kindergartners. For the first time in 5 years of teaching kindergarten, I felt like I did a really good job. I can go home this summer knowing that I was able to take the time to hear their stories, tie all of the shoes, put hats on all of the cold heads. They were able to build genuine relationships with one another that I know that they will continue to grow outside of the classroom. And I was able to build genuine relationships with them and their families, which in turn helped them all make significant academic as well as social and emotional gains. In the future, I would like to share some of the data I've compiled and to share a few more stories of my tiny human beings with big goals and bigger dreams. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have board committee reports and correspondence. Okay, just a few things. We will be reassigning committees and schools over the summer for board members. And I'm in the process of working with Melissa and our cabinet to get all of the committees down and then dates that they meet and times and locations. I will be sending that out then for board members to sign up for those committees and schools. So we'll be doing that over the summer. Also, I want to let everybody know that we are planning a board retreat. And we're looking to do that hopefully in June. So if you could all send dates, Saturday dates, to Melissa on which you can make it in June, would be great. Okay, and a quick update on our superintendent candidate search. We are kind of in the final few steps here, and we hope to have an announcement in probably about 2 weeks on the individual. So just wanted to give a quick update on that. So, anybody else have anything else? Good? All right. So next we have removal of expulsion from the record of student number 092016, and this is an action item. That the Board of Education approve the expungement of the expulsion from the record of student number 092016. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Harvey Zalman,
Yes.
Ray Davis.
No.
Jeff Alburn.
No.
Gary Millat.
No.
Victoria Newport.
No.
Valerie Pena Hernandez.
Yes.
Greg Smith.
No.
Next, we have presentations. English 100, 200, 300, 400. Life Skills English. Materials Adaptation, Ms. Christy Meyer, and this is an informational.
Good evening. We have a group of students at Dekalb High who all have IEPs and who fall in a range that it would be difficult for them to access the intensive level English classes that we have. And then also their skills are, they can easily access functional English, too much so. This is a credited class, and so we're looking at students who have approximately the 4th grade reading level, but yet still are diploma bound. And so we need to take a look at not only extending this group of, this option for this unique group of students,
to freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year. But we also need to take a look at the curriculum, that the curriculum matches the needs that they have. Right now, the curriculum, we do have this class called, right now it's called Life Skills English. But we need to, and it's only been offered the first year, in freshman year. Afterwards, that those students then go on to either intensive English, which is again too difficult for them, and they're not finding success in that because it's over their ability levels, or they are then put into a functional English, which is not credited and is not appropriate because that's based on more independent living skills. So this course that we're suggesting is extending that group to take that same group and move the group along each year, utilizing a curriculum focused on vocational English skills and independent living English skills. So it would look like this. I came to you last year and talked to you about the same group of students that we needed for life skills math, and we have the same group of students going through Math 1, Math 2, Math 3, and we're looking at them, the same group of students with the same needs going through English 100, 200, 300, and 400. The curriculum, I was very excited that there was a curriculum out there for this unique group of students. And it is, as you see there, it's 21st Century Life Skills by Saddleback Educational Publishing. I was thrilled that it had a copyright that wasn't back in the 1980s or 90s, and that it's actually 2011-12. It is written at the 4th grade level, and I love that it focuses on the skills that particularly this group of students will need to access their vocational and independent living skills. Thank you. These are the topics. So what we're seeing here is it's not any new FTE. The same teacher, well, it could essentially be the same teacher, but it's one FTE that will take in freshmen, sophomore, juniors, or seniors into this group. So it is a multi-grade class, okay? And they work through these topics each year. As you see, they were very centered on vocational and life skills. This also, before we get to the cost, what's wonderful about this program is that it will also meet their transition goals. When we, starting at 14 and a half years old, we need to have discussions at an IEP meeting talking about what next after high school. Okay, what are your plans? And many of our students, in particular in this unique group, have plans to be employed, live on their own. It is our job then to make sure that we have those goals embedded in their IEP. And it is our job to give them those skills. Right now, we're lacking in those transition goal skills, such for the vocational and independent living skills for this unique group of students. And then the cost is pretty minimal. That's that about $1,300. That's pretty minimal. That will be for each year. So I would propose that we start with the first set of skills, and then each year that would be an additional $1,300. Okay, and that would come out of that general, the general SGA, that SGSA. There we go, SGSA. Any questions? Yes, Howard.
Christy, I'm particularly concerned about this, that we are providing material that is written at 4th grade level. We're doing this for high school freshmen, and then continuing to do this for sophomores, juniors, and seniors. And it seems as if we have given up the notion of progress, and that students are supposed to grow so that we should be looking at least 1 year's worth of progress per semester, and maybe the students could stay like 4 years behind and get out at an 8th grade level, which would be getting close to the national norm for our average reading in the country, as I understand it, is approximately 10th grade. So that would get students more if we had something that was progressed in terms of the challenge. And I'd just like to hear your reply to this comment and concern.
This is one thing I'd like to mention is this is just one program, okay? All special ed teachers take students from where they are at and build from that point. So that this is written at a 4th grade level that means that the information is accessible to them. They are able to get that information at a instructional or independent level, okay? We will always, as special educators, continue to work on their accessing harder materials. But see, Howard, this information comes with it the vocabulary that they will need to fill out an application, the vocabulary that they will need to present themselves in an interview in a way that they can secure a job, and the vocabulary that they will need to get the services that they may need when they go to an agency. So although I hear what you're saying, and all along we have been working on our students and trying to teach them how to read, but there is a point where we're looking at how they access their learning independently, and that's where we're at with these students right now. I hear what you're saying. We never give up, if that's what you mean.
I think I've talked about this or asked questions about this before, Christy, but on the first slide after the cover sheet, you see typically 10, 12 students are diploma/vocational bound.
Yes.
And cannot access intensive English courses. So with Howard, what he's saying, what I'm thinking about is the diploma and the valuation of the currency. And when we graduate someone at the high school level, we provide a diploma because they've been through 4 years of training, that culminates in, this diploma, which I don't know if that's the same diploma as you're talking about here or not.
It is.
Well, then how can you have a 4th grade reading level and end up with a high school diploma, which is, as Howard said, is what's the average across?
Average is
10th grade, at least. So I see a disconnect here. I mean, is there some annotation on the diploma that says that this student? No, there's not. And I don't know legally where this goes, but that's what I'm asking, I guess, is how can we evaluate, the currency of our diploma so that the employers, and you also mentioned vocational, there's diploma/vocational bound.
Okay.
Okay. There needs to be a recognition by the public at large, and particularly by employers, whether it's vocational or whether they're aerospace research institute, whatever. They need to understand what our diplomas convey as to what the student has achieved.
I can answer a couple of things. First of all, this is not a new course that we're bringing to you. This course has been a course at Dekalb High School. I don't know for how many years, but for a long time with credit bearing. It's a credit bearing course. And here's how I might answer that as a special ed teacher that I am. And that is that employers, when they see we're giving them this student the ticket to go out and get those jobs, that the student, it's up to the student to present themselves and their knowledge base and their level as they are interviewing. Believe me, Carrie, many of the students that they are vocational bound, and so are we suggesting that we should not give them that ticket to go and get a job? That's what I would question. So the diploma is a diploma that will allow them to go and get that next job, get that job.
The notation comes to the transcripts. I mean, obviously, there will be different transcripts generated based upon the
students that they successfully complete, at their level, their requirement?
Well, certainly for special ed kids who have been through the process we talked about earlier of having diagnosis of their learning abilities. Again, this is the area in which I was a teacher for 20 years, so.
Want to continue on?
So the cost, no, I'm done. Oh, it was question time. Oh, okay, sorry, tried to finish.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions for Christine? Do I have consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
All right, thank you, Christine. Next, we have new course, STEM course for the middle school, and this is an informational item. Good evening.
I'd like to take a moment, I'd like to introduce to you Kelly Hamilton. Many of you know her. Kelly is an instructional coach at both middle schools. She's also really been the visionary of this STEM course proposal. So I'm just going to give you a very brief overview, and then I'm really going to turn the presentation over to her. So when we talk about STEM, what we're saying is, according to the National Science Teachers Association, STEM education is an interdisciplinary approach to learning, where rigorous academic concepts are coupled with real-world lessons as students apply science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in contexts that make connections between school, community, work, and the global enterprise, enabling the development of STEM literacy and with it the ability to compete in the new economy. What will this take the place of? Presently at the middle school schedule, each grade level has what we call the encore period. During that encore period, that is band, orchestra, choir, art, music. That's also when the Read 180 interventions take place, assisted studies for our students who would require additional support based on their IEP. There's also another elective offered called computers, which has been in the middle school curriculum for quite some time, and it's been offered at both middle schools. The issue is that the computer course, when it was first envisioned about 15 years ago, the focus was on teaching students about Microsoft Word, Excel, and other basics, things that we are well beyond. So with the shift, in addition to the next gen science standards and Common Core, along with the curriculum technology initiative, we thought that it was time to redesign the course.
So we got excited about what could this course be? And that's when we were looking at STEM and how can we incorporate a STEM course. And as part of STEM, we would be helping kids to look at the engineering design standards for NGSS. There would be research components and writing components, which would address some Common Core standards for reading and writing, and also math as they're working through some problems. That would come up as well. So we needed a framework for this STEM class. How would we build the class? And we decided to go with a problem-based learning approach. And essentially that is, you're giving the students a real world problem, and then you're asking them to solve that to the best of their abilities, to be creative, and to do research about the problem, where did the problem come from, what makes the problem, and how can it reasonably be solved. There's lots of benefits of problem-based instruction. One is that it's student-centered because they're working on a problem that they choose and or a solution that they choose. So if they're presented with a particular problem, the solution is up to them. So that's a very student-centered approach. They're dealing with real-world problems. They're still incorporating their basic skills. We envisioned them working in groups to solve a lot of these problems. And a lot of the 21st century skills focus on being able to collaborate and cooperate and communicate with others. And then also the problem-based approach would require them to make decisions and allow them to be creative. and also incorporate the technology, which is the course that I was replacing. So our big vision, our framework of problem-based, then we had to figure out what sort of problems can students address. And so at 6th grade, we envisioned them having a school problem. What's the problem in your school that you can help make a difference in? And then we would ask them to create a product that they could share with the student body using technology. And so that would be a more technology focus in the 6th grade, although it depends on the problem that they choose. And then we also envision embedding coding into this class, just because as technology, like the buzz in technology right now is teaching kids to do their own coding because they can. So we would embed coding throughout all 3 years. Then students who stay in the class for 7th grade, and like Vicki said, there are ways that kids wouldn't be in this class. It's not going to be for every kid. The kids that are in band or required, they're not going to have this class. But for kids that do and continue on, in 7th grade, it would be a bigger problem. So this would be like looking at technology and what kind of problems can technology solve, and envisioning how can a technology that we use today be improved for 20 years into the future. And again, coding still in 7th grade. And then in 8th grade, it would be a more focus on your community, on Dekalb. What kind of problem can you find in Dekalb and how can you fix that problem? The 7th and 8th grade plan that we have is based on 2 national science competitions, which is where we got the idea and lays more framework for it. One of them, so for example, students have solved problems like my cell phone always dies, by figuring out how you can harness the kinetic energy of your own movement to power a battery. These are like dreaming big and coming up with these design ideas that, you know, maybe we can't make a real working model, and maybe sometimes we can. So they're solving these big problems and being very creative about it. Another group of students did, you know, kids don't wear bike helmets, so they made a little sensor for bikes, and when you get on the bike, it makes a buzzer sound, and it's supposed to remind you to get your helmet, and then they're taking data on if kids get on the bike and they hear the buzzer, are they more likely to wear their helmet. Again, it's, you know, it's an 8th grade level research project. The control group's probably not great, but that's the kind of work that we think about doing as part of this course. And because it's brand new, we need to make sure that we're looking at how well is it working, how well is it meeting our goals. It's difficult to assess, I think it will be difficult to assess the exact, like, what's the math that they're learning, what's the science that they're learning, because depending on what problem you choose to solve and how you choose to solve it, you're using different math skills. But we can look at what kids use, what math and what science, and what were they doing. And then we can also look at the things like collaboration, the soft skills that we want to have, communication. And through action research by people like me, people like Vicki, and the teacher of the course that can sit in and make observations on students and how they're being engaged, how they're cooperating, are they cooperating more or less. We can do it. It's going to be important for us to look at how well is it really doing those things that we hope is in the 21st century schools. And the good news is we don't anticipate any cost. There's, we already have the teacher in place, and all of the things that we're looking at using are open education resources. So like I said, Explore Vision and eCyber Mission, if you want to check those out, those are national competitions, and our students in 7th and 8th grade who complete the project could actually go on to enter that project nationally. I have do you know Anand Grayab? I think he's in high school right now. He's won $2,000 in middle school doing the eCyber Mission competition himself. So, and then code.org and scratch.mit.edu are 2 program coding things that are free online where kids can learn to code. And then we also have a fantastic resource at NIU because they have a STEM Outreach Center. So there are lots of people there that we can talk to get help from, to get materials from as we're working through the class. So now what questions do you have?
I just want to say thanks for looking at this class, the computers class, because I really do think it's wonderful how it's kind of dated itself. And this is It's a great, thank you.
Although the computer class has dated itself, I'm still concerned that students do take the opportunity to learn how to work with Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. All three programs which are used for approximately 2 to 3% of the capability that the program has. Students regularly use Word and continue to type in paragraphs at the bottom of the page and then submit. That's PowerPoint.
The beauty of the Curriculum Tech Initiative is that kids are learning that stuff as early as third grade now in our district. So kids are making PowerPoints and, well, I mean, we use Google, but it's essentially the same, right? So they're doing Google Slides, they're doing Google Docs, they're doing that stuff when they're 9 now. So now when you get to middle school, we can take it up a notch.
It's also purposefully integrated. Back in the day when Microsoft Word and Excel really hit, and the idea of teaching formatting, those types of things, what's starting to happen, and it's actually been happening for some time, as Kelly mentioned, as students, really because of the Curriculum Tech Initiative, they're interfacing with Google Docs, they're interfacing with Google Slides, they're interfacing with the Google Sheets, they're interacting with Google Forms, but it's integrated in their learning. So they're learning those skills and applying them within context, rather than learning those skills on the outside the way we would have done it in the past, and then we've applied them. And also, just keeping in mind, this computers class is not attended by all middle school students. Anybody who's in music, band, orchestra, choir, assisted studies, Spanish, I forgot to mention Spanish, also receiving any kind of intervention, they don't take this class. So this really would support and really enable students who are not in some of those other exploratory areas a wonderful learning opportunity for them.
Yeah, the range of the students, you mentioned a little bit just now about who is in or not in, or could be in this program. And I'm thinking like, okay, so you also mentioned math, what each student might know as far as how advanced or not they are. And then collaboration. I'm seeing 2 or 3 components of it on your presentation, and I'm wondering like, okay, how do you do it? How do you actually teach it across a broad cross-section of the student body?
I think one of the things is that they're working in groups and they're focused on their own, whatever that is. That teacher has a challenge, to be sure.
Yeah.
To organize those groups going at the same time. But then that's what a lot of teachers do. We have these groups that are going on, or if we have stations that are going on where kids are working on the station. And it is going to be a challenge, but it's doable.
Questions? Do we have a consensus then to bring this back at the next one? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have the materials adoption for advanced placement chemistry, and this is Leskin. This is also informational.
So I would like to introduce Nicole Barclay. She's our newest addition to the science department at Dekalb High School, and she will be teaching AP chemistry going into next year, and is going to present to you the selection of the AP chemistry book that we would like for your consideration. For the benefit particularly of our new board members, just want to give you a little bit of background about AP materials, because they do fall under a slightly different category than some of the other materials that we've brought before you. The one that we're bringing for your consideration, and you can actually just set them there, and they can take a look at them while they're presenting, is chemistry by Zumdahl and Zumdahl. Again, I'm going to let Nicole speak as to why we've selected this particular text. In addition, also keep in mind that the student population that's served by this course are junior and senior level students who have successfully completed 2 years of science, including 1 year of chemistry. Yep, you can really build some muscle there. Okay. And here's the rationale. With our AP classes, we have to adhere to the guidelines of College Board. And they require that participating programs update materials every 10 years. So the last adoption of new materials for AP Chem was 2006. So we're technically a year late. The present book, Chemistry, the 7th edition that they're using right now, was published in 2006. And the text was selected from a suggested list by College Board. So in other words, when we're considering a new textbook for AP courses, it has to come from College Board's suggested list. We approach the whole process very, very differently. We don't look at Common Core. We don't purvey a lot of different vendors. We really look to the guidance and the direction of College Board. This also is the one that we've selected is the most widely and most respected text for AP Chemistry across the country. This is the one.
Alright, so to tell you a little bit more about the textbook that we have, as Vicki said, it really kind of meets those requirements that College Board has put out. It's on that list, and as she said, it's one of the most widely used and it's highly respected. Also, just the text itself it's very rigorous and it kind of matches what's expected for an AP course. Because most of the students who are enrolling in AP Chemistry, a lot of them do take that AP test in May to get college credit. And so the expectation in taking AP Chemistry is that you are getting essentially the same curriculum that you would be exposed to in a college level course. Definitely meets that kind of rigorous expectation. What I'm most excited about, though, if you could go to the next slide, I think, is all the technology that kind of comes with this textbook. It does have an ebook that we get bundled in with the physical copy. So especially those of you who already handled it, it's quite a hefty book. So the nice thing about that ebook is the students won't have to necessarily carry around that heavy book to and from class. They can access it on their Chromebooks. And what I think is even more amazing about the ebook is they can underline and highlight on their Chromebooks and take notes, which is something they can't do in the physical copy since it's going to be used from year to year. So the e-textbook just has lots and lots of resources for them that really just kind of help to enrich the course. There's also online assessments that are in that e-textbook that can be assigned for homework or in class, and there's a grade book that kind of helps you kind of look at the data that you gain from those assessments. And I'm actually going to be going to a training session soon that they're providing to us for free to kind of learn how to utilize these online resources to better benefit the students. There's also some vocab tools. Students can make flashcards on the online textbook. There's some pre-lab skills that are on there, step-by-step videos, and as I mentioned, it's interactive, so they can underline, highlight, and take notes. The other resource that made its way around is a kind of additional supplemental resource to really help those students succeed in AP Chem. The purpose of the course isn't necessarily to differentiate for kids, but it's, we want to do the best we can. Even though it is a college level course, you want to help the kids. And that supplemental resource is really for those kids who might need a little extra help. It kind of goes chapter by chapter and matches up with those textbooks and provides extra problems, extra explanations, so that the kids who need that extra help can really get it. So the two kind of go hand in hand to make sure that the kids really can understand and get into that AP Chemistry stuff. So like I said, I'm going to a training session soon to learn how to use the online one. And then in June, I'm also going to other AP curriculum training to prepare for implementing textbooks.
And then this is the cost. It's interesting as more and more publishers move to digital platforms, and each platform tends to be a little bit different in terms of how they bundle. There was actually very little difference in cost, like maybe $150 between just getting the digital platform and just a small set of books and having the books and the digital licenses. So that's why you see that there's 56 digital licenses and 56 books. With the way in which they bundle it, it really financially makes no sense to separate it out. in the past, like when I've come to you about Pearson, we buy all these digital licenses, but a very limited number of books. But with this particular platform, there was no cost savings. So there's 56 bundled together, the chemistry book along with the digital license. And why it's 56 is because it will fulfill then 2 full sections of AP Chem. They usually offer 2 sections, and because it's a lab class at the high school, the maximum enrollment is 28 because it's a lab course. Then 56 copies of the preparation book that we sent around to really help students really gear in and prepare for the AP exam. And then I wanted to put it up there, the implementation PD, which they are giving because we just have the one AP Chem teacher. They're going to allow her to attend training in a different district and allow her to go for free. So we were able to work that out and not have to pay for that. So the total amount is just a little over $10,000. Questions?
The College Board recommends changing textbooks, or they demand changing textbooks every 10 years.
Right.
And this program appears to have an ebook form that goes with it, which has a license lasting 6 years.
Right.
What do we do in years 7, 8, 9, and 10?
Then we will come back before you and bring a proposal to renew those licenses for the next 4 years.
In other words, there is more being paid in each of those years. One shot.
No, it's hard to say how they will bundle it 6 years from now. I mean, if I think about my experience with other companies, I would say that they'll probably give a financial incentive to purchase a bundle of years. But it's hard to say exactly how they'll set that up. Those digital licenses don't ever go much past 6 years because those platforms get rarely updated.
Since you presented this in curriculum council, I'm already, this is refreshing my memory from that presentation. I think the text is wonderful. It's really a nice book. But what I thought about in the meanwhile is, this is an AP course, which means that if you're successful in this course and you pass the AP exam, you've then saved a great deal of money at the college level. And I'm wondering, should we consider whether or not there ought to be a cost sharing of the cost of these kinds of AP courses? And we're helping the student parents to avoid costs at the college level.
There is a cost, right, James?
Yes,
There's
I think there is
fee.
Oh, there is a fee.
Yes, yes.
Is that true only for AP text, or is it also true for all text?
It's a course, it's a generic course fee for the AP class, AP Chem, in part because of the textbook, and in part because of the materials that they need for the lab, is at a higher need than you have in a regular chemistry class, so there's a lab fee that's placed onto it.
Okay, so there already is some cost. And on the one hand, I want to encourage parents and students that are at this level or can perform at this level to move into the district at a very good course in a number of ways.
Is that a pretty nominal amount, James, the amount that they share?
Well, I guess it depends. Like, it is. I have to look at it. It's small. It's not like we take 10,000 and divide it by the total. I think there's 30 some odd course requests for it. It's not that clean, but it is a small fee.
Well, its face value, it's $180 per student, but it's a 6-year book. So divide it then by 6, and so the cost to us is pretty marginal, actually. And all I want to say is, great. And now I want you to start teaching the gas laws to the rest of the country, okay? Because they really need to know that.
You need to put that in context for the rest of the board.
That
up in curriculum.
Why?
You don't have to do it tonight.
Just an additional comment, I know James you have a scholarship fund for helping students pay for the AP test as well.
For the AP exam, the AP exam is roughly $100. So students that are in need, we do have a fund set aside to help cover for that. So we encourage all students to take that exam.
The text is there. The ebook part of it is every year, right? I mean, in other words, you have to pay that on a yearly
I think
basis.
that's for 6 years.
That's for the 6 years.
Mhm.
Okay, good.
Mhm. But in 6 years, we'll be looking at extending. Right, exactly.
Do we have a consensus then to bring this back?
Yes.
Thank you. Next is non-business consent agenda. This is an action item that the Board of Education approve the non-business consent agenda items A through F. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Any discussion?
Victoria, I'd like to ask a question about some of the salaries for some of the personnel. When I looked at the backup material, I noticed that there were some, an example. One is teacher 5th grade at 54,847. What I'm wondering about is these teachers that we see on these lists, or other personnel for that matter, but particularly teachers in this case, is that a returning teacher going to a new classroom, a different classroom, a new position, or is that a new hire?
New hire.
That is a new hire.
Mhm.
Okay, so do we need to pay almost $55,000 for a first-year new hire in 5th grade? Is that?
If I remember correctly, that one has bilingual background. Some hope on that.
No, in fact, that's what caught my attention, because the one on the bottom of that first category is teacher bilingual kindergarten.
No. The teacher itself has a master's degree,
Okay.
and that's what separated because of the need in that 5th grade. And I don't.
It doesn't say anything about bilingual in that particular.
No, and again,
column.
where they're located would indicate the fact that they have a master's degree. And I don't have them written down as far as what their advanced degree is, but it meets the needs of the classroom.
Well, my view is that a teacher does not need a master's degree to teach 5th grade. Now, if they're bilingual, that's a functional difference that I would be willing to pay for. But I would not think that we necessarily need to hire especially a new hire, someone with a master's degree to teach 5th grade. I just don't think it's necessary. And if there are candidates that could teach that same curriculum at level with a bachelor's degree, then I think it would cost us less money and still accomplish the good job of teaching the kids at that level.
I guess I would remind you, I scrutinized every single one of the hires and look at the criteria of what the needs of the class are, keeping in mind the target of what you've got at the bottom of the sheet I shared with you
Yeah,
earlier.
I know the averages, we're well within the average,
Yeah.
our target average, and that's great. But I just don't understand, maybe you can inform me why we need to spend $55K on a 5th grade teacher. Well, you say the needs of that class, maybe I don't understand what the needs of the class are.
Right.
But 5th grade, I think I understand what the needs of instruction at 5th grade level is.
Mhm.
And I don't think that it needs to be at the $55,000 mark for an entry first year teacher. That's what I'm.
Well, again, I would tell you, it may not be an entering 5th. What I would remind you is this: we look at what the makeup of the other 5th grade teachers are. There may be a need, because their other 5th grade teachers are brand new, of hiring an additional teacher that has some experience that might lead that group. So again, we look at all of the different makeups. I don't remember them all, but I will tell you that I go through every single one of them and approve them.
I think Brad, you're more experienced than I do in this as far as classroom instruction, but it just seems to me with the average salary in Dekalb and with the other parents, all the people in town, and with what I always understood was the need of instruction at the 5th grade level, I don't think you need a master's degree to teach 5th grade. I do understand what you're saying about a leader of teachers, but again, I've had this conversation with others before. I think that in K through 12, you very seldom need a master's degree. Perhaps a department head needs a master's degree. You certainly don't, I don't believe, need a doctor's degree in most cases.
Well, we don't have doctor's degrees, certainly at 54.
Right.
I mean, we look at the candidates we have, we look at the best possible instructor, teacher. We go through a vetting process of making sure, similar to what you've gone through on other hire, making sure that we look and make sure that they fit within our criteria and don't exceed our budget. We're working within a budget. So I understand what you're saying.
On average.
And you're right.
But
That's why
I want to
make sure I share this
understand
with you.
better what we really need at each grade level in terms of experience in education. And leadership. I mean, you bring up a good point about leadership, all the various teachers at grade level. Yeah, it's just that I'm not quite sure in my thinking process that I'm up to the speed of understanding why we need a master's degree person. With perhaps, I mean, generally a master's degree person is going to have some experience as well. Not always. I mean, someone could graduate from college with a master's degree and start teaching immediately. But I just don't quite see why we need a person, even as a leader, in many cases at least, with a master's degree and subsequently with the higher salary than what we otherwise might be.
Again, the board placed a challenge of making sure that we had all of our hires at a certain level, and that's an average. So there will be experience. I gotta tell you, there's a high school guidance teacher or a guidance counselor that is a minority candidate and is gonna come in with a master's degree.
Yeah.
Because he's a guidance counselor.
The other thing I consider when I look at this stuff is internal equity. You know, when we bring somebody in from the outside, that's why my initial question was whether or not this is a new hire to the district or whether this is someone that's going to be assigned, you know, from some other.
We don't have any reassigned.
Okay.
The charts that I give you are only new hires.
We also have to be careful not only to hit the average, which we're doing very well at, thank you, but also to not upset internal equity and when we bring somebody in at a substantially higher rate than another fifth grade teacher for, in this example. You know.
I hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
I'll
But
go through them all.
Okay.
But to add to that also, part of the criteria we set out there also was to hire without a master's to save money as well.
Right. So I echo
We
the
did
same
make
thought.
that point.
Yeah.
So,
And was that your objective in looking at it, and then the only exceptions were ones where you felt that there was
There's got to be extenuating circumstance. You asked me if I remember this particular one and why. I absolutely don't. You've hired an interim superintendent / HR person, so, but definitely keeping you within budget, which is what
the record. I echo that same sentiment. That, I mean, even though you may be hitting budget as far as an aggregate, I feel that you know our target should be to keep it at the lowest amount.
And quite frankly, the principals have been wonderful, letting me know we are interviewing, we have these 3 final candidates, these are the criteria in which they have, will they be acceptable? And listen to it and certainly then give them the approval. Your message has been heard by the organization.
Yeah. Other items on the non-business consent agenda? Under item 7C, there is a unaffiliated benefit attachment that's submitted with a 260-day contract that lists benefits that are appropriate in there for what's labeled 14-15 years. And it seems kind of strange we're doing this for the year 17-18. What am I looking at there, and why should I be looking at something that's labeled 14-15?
That's the standard that it's been the same. It's the same.
It's the same thing. Okay.
Yeah. It was established 14-15 year of the level of coverage. So, I mean, it's the same level of coverage as for deductibles and for the benefits.
Okay, in item 7D, we are, this is where we are offering more.
This is
going to use a one-time bonus for some of the members of the Human Resources Department.
I'd be happy to address that. Because of circumstances, we had 2 employees of the HR department not be here because they are of their absence. And I'm going to put it very delicately. The district saved $78,000. The job still had to be done. And so it left us 3 employees within the HR department plus interim superintendent. So the 3 employees picked up the responsibilities that others held. So our request is, because they picked up so much additional work, and the regional office had the compliance visit, which was an extreme amount of work in the HR department, requested that we reimburse these people 7% of their salary, one-time payment, and then we will reorganize the jobs for future years. So that's what you see before you.
Okay, that is what I see before me, and I agree with it in principle. What I am wondering is, as you give a percent of salary as the basis by which this amount of money is distributed, you will ultimately wind up paying some people more and some people something less. Now, I believe that everybody contributed as much extra work to this as they could. And I don't see any reason why this is not an equitable rather than a based on salary distribution.
And again, if you remember, we had a dialogue, an executive session with the board to talk about how this should look. And so certainly took the direction from executive session of the board to go 7% based upon their salary. I mean, again, that's where it came from.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the nature of differences in salary.
It's in the nature of experience, and again, there's individuals here that have history that we need to rely on, and have experiences.
You don't pay everybody the same thing for various reasons, for good reasons. There's no need to start that.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
One more.
Oh, sorry, Howard.
On item 7E, which is the overnight FFA field trip, there are going to be some costs associated with it. Have those already been gathered and arranged? Are they within budget? Are they all, where did the money come from?
James, any help on that one?
From the overnight
FFA
field trip, it's from their activity. It's an activity, so it comes from their activity funds. They do fundraisers, donations, various.
Are they using any of their grant money?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
No, it's an activity. It's come from their activity funds.
All right, roll call, please.
Rick Smith,
Yes.
Howard Solomon,
No.
Fred Davis,
Yes.
Jeff Holgren,
Yes.
Terry Millat,
Yes.
Victoria Newport,
Yes.
Valerie Virginia Hernandez.
Okay, next we have the business consent agenda. This is an action item that the Board of Education approve the business consent agenda items A through E. Do we have a motion?
Second.
Discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Valerie Virginia Hernandez,
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I was reading something. I'm so sorry. I spaced out.
Rick Smith,
Yes.
Howard Solomon,
Yes.
Fred Davis,
Yes.
Jeff Holgren,
Yes.
Terry Millat,
Yes.
Victoria Newport.
Yes. Next up is business and finance. Summer meal program, and this is an informational item. Tammy Carson.
We just wanted to come forward to the board and let you know of an opportunity that has presented itself from the Voluntary Action Center. For several years now, they have been providing summer lunches, meal programs to various camps around the Dekalb County area. In the past, they've utilized kitchens in the Sycamore School District, and for reasons regarding some changes in their district, they are not able to manage that in the Sycamore District this year, so they have approached us about using one of our kitchens. After talking with Carol Warren in food service and Andrea and Cindy, we feel it would be a great opportunity to allow them to use our kitchen at Huntley Middle School. as it outlines in the proposal, it would just be, they actually run the program from May 26th through August 18th, but because we are in school till June 5th, they wouldn't be coming onto our premises until June 6th. So they would be using our facilities, but they provide all of the staffing, they provide all of the cleanup, everything necessary. We're providing the facility and the storage opportunity on site.
Perfect. Is it a question?
Yeah.
Okay, is this the first year, or the first time for this?
It's the first time they've approached us, yes.
Oh, perfect.
Yes.
Do you want to go first, Brett?
Go ahead.
All right. You know, a long time ago, when we spent $110 million in bond money on the two schools, I was a big critic of all that because I just didn't think the community had that kind of money in its pocket. But after I got more involved with the schools, I thought that some of it was really a pretty cool thing, and in fact, necessary thing. So at the same time, this is years ago now, said, well, let's make sure that the community gets some of their money back. You know, let's get them into these facilities and allow things to happen outside of just the normal curriculum instruction and so on, extracurricular and athletic programs and so on. And I think we've done a pretty good job of that so far. I've seen a lot of good things happen, a lot of good community interaction with our facilities. But I want to raise a flag of warning at this point, not particularly about this program. Tammy, you know that, and the rest of you probably have heard something. We've talked about it. The county nursing or county health department is asking us to use our facilities for distribution of emergency medical supplies for various scenarios of disaster. That will be coming to us at some point in the future. The safety committee is working on that now. And in that particular contract, this will be, and we also, by the way, had a contract. We still have a contract with NIU for using the auditorium for drama presentations. Okay, there are a number of ways, you know, that 428 has allowed or worked with, collaborated the community. And I'm starting to get a little bit nervous about some of these things, in particular the one about the medical distribution, which we won't talk about tonight. But when we start to incur costs, and this particular one, we will incur some costs. You know, it's equipment that has the depreciation, et cetera. Tam, you know much more about this than I do. But just in the global sense, I'm starting to see the other side of the coin. You know, that is, not only do I want the community to participate and get money back on the investment they made in the school district, but I also think as a board member now, I'm responsible for understanding better than I now do what our true costs are. You know, we can just toss out the thing, yeah, you can use the full YMCA, yeah, you can use the auditorium, NIU, yeah, you can use the kitchen for the crew, yeah, you can use the high school for the, but there are costs to all these things. And I don't think we've ever really tried to calculate and list the actual true cost of these things. In my view, at least, we've done a seat of the pants guesstimation, you know, of what the costs are or might be. And I think that we're getting down the road far enough. We ought to start looking at this a little more closely, not to mention the fact that we're in deficit spending or will be. You know.
I will say this, as these come across our desk, we do look at them very closely in regards to what the benefit is to the community. Is there a benefit to the group that offsets what the cost is to the district? And there are standards when it comes to like facility use. You bring up NIU pays a rental fee as well as an additional cost where they are actually paying for 2 part-time custodial staff to work the weekends. So that was a contract that we were able to recoup many of our costs, if not more, over the last 4 and soon to be 5 years. When it comes to standard rentals, we do look at them case by case. And do we recover everything? No, not always. And it's a give and take in regards to working with the public. In this case, I will say they are not cooking. These are cold lunches. So the equipment use is strictly our freezers and cooler space, which for the most part would be on in the summer anyways. And then we are actually going to talk to them about waste and recycling management because we normally shut down waste and recycling at our buildings in the summer that don't have summer school and put it on an on-call basis. So we're not paying for a weekly pickup like we do during the school year. And they've agreed to bring in and pay for their own dumpster during that time that they're in our building. So we wouldn't even be assuming those costs. So besides having the lights on, I really don't anticipate a significant cost with bringing this group in. I can appreciate what you're saying about other groups, and they do need to be scrutinized to make sure that we're not giving more than we can afford.
One more thing, Fred. One of the things I asked for, and I was a member of the audience back in those days, not any official role, was a higher limit on our liability insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Did that happen? That was, I'm speaking specifically to NIU renting out the auditorium at the old high school. So did we get a higher insurance policy?
Are you saying us or our expectations of the groups using our facilities? Because we obtain insurance
the
from all
liability
groups.
would be shared, okay? I imagine, this is legal
They
stuff.
provide us a certificate of insurance.
Correct.
Yeah, and ours would be secondary in addition to theirs then.
Correct, and
Okay,
we
but-
did increase the requirement, the limits, back many years ago,
Yeah,
over
well-
5 years ago, I would say, when we revamped the entire facility use program, facility rental program, we increased the limits of that from, I don't remember what it was, now is $1 million per occurrence and $2 million aggregate. And that's required
Oh,
of
that's
anyone who used our
Heard it
facilities.
was, but that's still not much.
Jeff?
Well, this is just me being playful. Why, do we know why Sycamore decided not to do it?
What has been shared with us from BAC, because it's the representative for BAC that we met with, is that they are going to be going over potential changeover of their food service provider this summer. They're out to bid, I think, right now, possibly. And that being the case, they're uncertain of how that will look, so they prefer their kitchens not be utilized.
And so you're saying these are gonna be mostly cold sandwiches, where are these going? The cold sandwiches?
They're going to various camps around the county, such as Camp Power, the YMCA camp, Maple Leaf Camp through the Park District, Camp Discover, and other ones that are out there.
Yeah, I think it's a great partnership, it's like, I don't know, I'd call it community service kind of thing, so it's pretty awesome.
And it's benefiting our students here.
Well,
That's
sure
what
it
we
is.
need to, it's for our students over the
I think
summer.
they had mentioned the majority of these students are Ohio's.
Right,
right.
They are our students.
When you talk about the camps
Oh, it's
that
a great
they're
partnership.
fulfilling, it is. The
Yeah.
camps that are being fulfilled are mostly.
And it's good optics. I mean, I think it looks good to everybody that we're.
I'm not sure that 2 million is aggregate, is enough. I mean, you're dealing with food. I mean, and it could be other things too, as well as this particular instance, but we should do a good insurance review. I mean, our insurance as it stands, or has been for years, is based on the services that we deliver as a school district, not based on collaborating for the swimming pool at the YMCA or food, to people who are not in school at that point.
We're gonna need to move on. We can, if we
Okay,
want
that's
to
fine.
decide
I'm
what
just
your
making
time-
suggestions here.
Yeah.
Insurance is the topic.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Do we have a consensus then to bring this back as an action?
Yes.
Oh,
It was just an information.
Oh, okay, all right, thank you. And you're not going anywhere.
No, I'm not.
Approval of utility bid, electric, and this is an action item, that the Board of Education award the utility contract for electric to the company presented at the board meeting on May 16th, 2017. Do we have a motion? Any discussion?
Yes.
Okay, Helen?
As we do this, we received this bid today. And the bid that we received, we've had no input on, no opportunity to review other bids. And I'm concerned that we need to, I understand there's market volatility when you deal with the purchase of electricity. Nonetheless, I think that we should be looking at least 2 meetings before we take action on something, where we're given a range of potential prices that the electricity may be delivered in, so that we could budget this appropriately and at least have some opportunity to think about it. Right now, it's on a piece of paper somewhere, and it was here when I walked in at 5 o'clock. There's been no real discussion of whether these are good or bad prices, and there should be.
2 meetings ago, I don't know if you recall, but I did come forward with the gas gas contract. And at the time, I had hoped to bring you the electric contract, but because of some last minute information, we did not feel we were comfortable making a recommendation to the board. And we actually went back out to bid again. And the same two companies bid on the electric because there are very few companies available that are not, the companies that provide electric, a lot of them are brokers. And then with the broker, there's a broker fee, which bumps the pricing. So we did go out to bid a second time since that meeting. I believe I came early in April was that meeting. And the same two bidders came back and, whoop.
That's kind of companies we're getting right there.
There's a lesson. When I was here a couple meetings ago, the lowest bidder at that time was Mid-America, which is which is not the company we're currently with. That contract expires at the end of June, and we are currently with Constellation. And so again, we're comfortable with Constellation. We can choose whoever we'd like. We don't have to go lowest bidder because there's a lot of factors involved. But since going out to rebid, we have had the opportunity to do a little more homework and research into these companies. And Mid-American did come in lower again. And these are today's prices. Up there it says that Mid-American pricing is 0.03188 and Constellation 0.03244. What that means is comparatively, our 1 year usage for kilowatt usage was just under 9.5 million. And based on this information, we can save approximately $4,000 by going with Mid-American over Constellation this year based on current pricing. We did talk to Genoa Kingston School District. They've been with Mid-American and not with Constellation, and they've been very pleased with them because we do have to consider factors with how do they handle their billing? How quickly do they apply the payments? Do they have programs such as the demand response peak program, or Mid-American calls it peak load notification? What that is a program we participated in for several years where they notify me and they say, hey, we're going to go on demand response and we need you to save energy today. And we immediately shut things down, mostly through our HVAC controls. And then we notify staff, hey, if at all possible, turn as much off today as possible. And because of that, we've been able to get back approximately $16,000 a year based on our participation for 4 days a year. And Mid-American has that same opportunity. And so based on, again, it's right now today, it's a $4,000 difference. I'm recommending we move forward with a 2-year contract with Mid-American for our electric company usage.
Is there any contract, I guess I should say, at any time that if you're not satisfied with the service they're providing, can we opt out of that? I mean, do you have guidelines in there of any type of restriction using funds? I mean, being how used to you were with the other company, you know, and
Right, and we've never.
Hold on just a second.
No. We're trying to read the thing. Ben, can you blow that thing up any?
I have handouts. I was just trying to say.
That's what we're talking about here, trying to read it.
Sorry.
Can't see it.
Yeah, that's better.
Here we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, there we go.
or do you think there's a need for that?
I don't. I mean, unless something, we had a company once before, the biggest issue is the billing and not being timely, or just having a bill that's so difficult to interpret. And that being said, we did have our broker, who is since retired, but we did have her take a look at this as well. And we did reach out, like you said, to another school district to make certain that they were happy with the service and the billing was timely and all of the such. And between Constellation and this company, they are really the two players in energy.
I agree with Howard. We didn't have this information. It seemed as if, it hadn't gone out for a bit, which is something that I was looking at through, just trying to find something earlier. So I agree with Howard. It does kind of make you skeptical as to, how you are 100% sure this is the best.
Sure. And I will say, because of utility, the way that the utility pricing is, it's very different from typical bid results. Typically you've got a bid tab in front of you with a lot of details, but because this pricing changes every day, I would not want to come to you with results I had last Thursday when the bids were turned in, and then find out today that, and submit that to all of you, and then find out today that, it's flip-flopped and this company is at a.
Right, so what they do with utilities, when you bid them and you get base pricing, and then they have to refresh them right before you're going to vote on them, and you have to take the price within that 24-hour period. So unfortunately for utilities, it's not something you can hold for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Right.
It is ever
It's like the interest rate.
You're basically hedging.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Tammy, I just think I may have missed something or may have misheard something, but I thought you were advocating for Constellation.
No, Constellation's our current provider, and I'll be honest with you, the last time I came forward, we were a little surprised that Constellation wasn't coming in at the lower rate, because they did on the gas side of things.
But
But today, after being given the opportunity to take this back out to the market, have the time to research it, check into references and their different programs such as peak response, confirm all of that, I do have the confidence coming forward to you to say I would recommend Mid-American.
that is the one that is able to save us $16,000 in various refunds.
They both can.
They
We
both have-
confirmed they both have
They
this
both have
program,
that.
correct. And that was important to me when last time we were looking at a $13,000 difference. It's hard for me to say, yes, go ahead, and then find out this company doesn't even have it. And we were able to find out in the last 30 days that it does, and we were able to continue participating in that peak response program.
And Genoa has them and is very active.
Yes.
When you guys ask them questions, do you ask them what the source of their energy is, whether it's nuclear or gas, natural gas, or any of that? And that gets into the depth of the volatility of the marketplace. So is that?
It's not a question that is
That's not, they
specifically
don't tell
asked in
you
the
any of
bid,
that.
and
You just get
again,
the-
we have two players in the market
Yeah.
right now. This went out to more than last.
So Tammy, can you just again tell the board what you're wanting us to approve?
I'd like the board to, I'm recommending that the board approve Mid-American to be our electric contract on a 2-year contract, which will begin on July 1st.
That's the motion.
Okay, so I need a second.
I'll say.
Natasha. Yes. Roll call, please.
Karen Black,
Yes.
Victoria Newport,
Yes.
Valerie Pena Hernandez, Greg Smith,
Yes.
Howard Solomon,
Yes.
Fred Davis,
Yes.
Jeff Alter.
Yes.
Next, we have budget proposal, facility operations department. This is an action item. That the Board of Education approved the expansion of the operations and maintenance budget for 2017-18 in the amount of $216,121.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
If I could,
Absolutely, yeah.
I just wanted to bring up some past information because many of the board members, even the members that have been here for the last 2 years, may not have this background. And that was 2 years ago when the Curriculum Tech Initiative was approved. One of the things that came forward to me through Andrea was we needed to reduce the facility and the operations and maintenance budget by $500,000 to help to contribute towards the curriculum initiative. And we were going to do that, commit to that for 4 years. And, as anyone would be, I was apprehensive, but I'm always willing, let's give it a shot if we cut back on our capital improvement projects. These are some things that we felt we could manage, with the understanding as each year we would come back if there were concerns that we were going to exceed our budget, come back with those particular line items. And right away, the first 2 years, because of the HVAC projects that were approved, to be able to do those HVAC projects at Malta and Jefferson, we did need to request $200,000 back into the budget, the operations and maintenance, to be able to complete those projects, and that was approved by the board. So the net result was a $300,000 reduction to the operations and maintenance budget. In addition, in 2015, we came forward, our department, with a modified cleaning plan. That's the every other night cleaning that's been in place since 2015, which also has saved the district over $200,000 a year. That is just to offset the deficit. So other contributing factors. And because the agreement 2 years ago about the budget, and if there needs to be consideration to increasing the budget based on specific reasons, that is why I'm coming back. That is why, we started this back in March. We've taken it to FFAC. In that amount of time, it's given me the opportunity, a question came up, I think it was from Rick, about, are these hard quotes or are these guess, estimates? And I was able to get at least one hard quote on the majority of the items that are listed, and also found some cost savings measures within each project by meeting with the contractor to say, okay, we'd like to do this, but okay, what if we tweaked it a little bit? What if we changed this project? What would it cost us? And so there's reductions in some of those based on from where it started. So this number has come down. It may continue to come down. It may continue to come down as we get hard bids and as we go for getting these projects in place. We're always looking for other ways to save money, but until you're actually in the project, sometimes you don't know, is it gonna cost what the quote was? Is it more or is it less? So I wanted to have that opportunity to explain to you what has brought me to this point, as well as explain the changes in those dollar values that have brought us from March to now. And with any luck, will still bring us even lower going into the next year.
And we appreciate to have the dialogue with the board related to the discussion. Because when there's not a motion, we can't answer your questions.
Well, it's a fantastic job, really. I certainly appreciate, it's a lot of work. I certainly appreciate, it's a job really well done, I think. Yep.
Roll call, please.
Jeff Albrecht?
Yes.
Carrie Malak?
Yes.
Victoria Newport?
Yes.
Valerie Pena Hernandez?
Yes.
Rick Smith?
Yes.
Howard Solomon?
Yes.
Fred Davis?
Yes. You tired over there, Melissa?
Only a couple more hours.
Don't worry.
Okay, next we have the food service bid, and this is an action item, that the Board of Education award the food service bid contract to Aramark with the prices per unit as indicated in the attached documents. Do we have a motion?
So
Second.
Any discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Fred Davis?
Yes.
Jeff Albrecht?
yes.
Carrie Malak?
Abstain.
Victoria Newport?
Yes.
Valerie Pena Hernandez? Yes. Rick Smith?
Yes.
Howard Solomon?
Yes.
Next is telephone service, voice over internet protocol, vendor change, and this is an action item, that the Board of Education approve the 5-year telephone contract with Comcast Cable Communications Management, LLC. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Howard Solomon?
Hard as it is to vote for Comcast.
Fred Davis?
Yes.
Jeff Albrecht?
Yes.
Carrie Malak?
Yes.
Victoria Newport?
Yes.
Valerie Pena Hernandez? Rick Smith?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Just, another outstanding job of cutting costs. You got two good examples tonight of people working really hard. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I like the redundancy on that second fiber. I think that's a good thing.
Right, next is bid results, waste and recycling, and this is an action item. That the Board of Education approve the contracting with Waste Management of Illinois, of Batavia, Illinois, as the district's waste recycling service for 1 year, beginning July 1st, 2017, with the option to renew for up to 3 years. Do we have a motion?
So
Second.
All right, any discussion?
I got a question. So this is a 1-year contract you're going for. Now, did you talk about extending out to 2 or 3 years with maybe at a better rate?
With the current?
Yeah.
With current waste
Yeah.
management, we have, and we've done that in the past for the current contract we're in, and we were able to recover some cost savings at that time. But because we hadn't bid this out since the high school opened, we felt it was important to reach out, and we had some local providers now that were not in the marketplace 2 years ago when we went through the auto renewal with Waste Management then, that I just felt, this was an opportunity we needed to take advantage of and check the pricing.
Yeah.
And honestly, it made waste management sharpen their pencils a little bit, and even under the same programs, we're gonna save over $13,000 for the same services we currently have with them. And that doesn't include, as we randomly have to rent roll-offs, large roll-off containers. Those costs that they quoted us are significantly lower than what they're levying and charging us for tax.
Thank you. Thanks.
Right. Roll call, please.
Jeff Albrecht,
Yes.
Karen Mallette,
Yes.
Victoria Newport,
Yes.
Valerie Pena Hernandez.
Yeah.
Rick Smith,
Yes.
Howard Solomon.
Yes.
Fred Higgins.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next
Thanks
we
so much.
is the bid award for general supplies, copy paper, and construction paper. This is an action item that the Board of Education award the following bids for fiscal year 17-18. Mid-City Office Products, general supplies, school specialty, construction paper, and contract paper group, copy paper. Do we have a motion?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Karen Mallette.
So we have singing and we have dancing tonight, don't we?
Yes.
Victoria Newport,
Yes.
Valerie Pena Hernandez. Yes. Rick Smith,
Yes.
Howard Solomon.
Yes.
Fred Higgins.
Yes.
Jeff Albrecht.
Yes.
Next is new business and administration. Certified nurse, extra summer hours, and this is an informational item. Christy Meyer.
Coming to you with some good news. I think it was you, Carrie, who challenged me
Probably.
last year to say, can you come back with asking for fewer hours for nursing support in the summer?
The student nurses even better. $10 an hour or something. Okay, Christy, go ahead.
That's what we have for you. In order to serve the needs of our students, okay? We have come back to you for a reduced number of extra nursing hours for the summer. The nursing hours are there to help the certified school nurses train the health assistants and the procedural nurses, as well as they contact families and ensure that our safety plans are in place prior to the beginning of the year, okay? And so we've reduced those hours by 57%, savings at around $4,700. And the two factors that have reduced that are, one, we've brought on procedural nurses whose contract does start 3 days prior to the beginning of the year. And so they're going to be doing a lot of what typically was done by our CSNs. And then secondly, if you recall, we have pushed back the exclusion date from the first day of school to September 15th. And that is also going to be allowing our procedural nurses and our CSNs and our health assistants get all the paperwork in order. Questions?
Good idea. I hadn't thought about that. Pushing back the date would help us financially. That's good. Great. Thanks.
She did tell us that.
Really?
She did tell us that, yes, she did.
Do we have a consensus then to bring this back?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Next, we have a .33 FTE request for PE at Huntley Middle School for the 2017-2018 school year. And this is Tom Kim.
Hi, so yeah, we had a .33 FTE request made this year. It was kind of under emergency circumstances, and the language when it was submitted and approved was just for this current school year. Looking at projected enrollment for next year, we're going to be in the same boat where our 6th grade class coming in and the current 6th grade moving to 7th grade are going to be, currently right now, our 6th grade class is at 305 students rostered. We were at 306 when I submitted my paperwork, but we're at 305 now. So, we anticipate that we'll have that similar number moving into next year, if not more. 6th grade incoming class, we anticipate will be over 275 students. And given those two circumstances, that would mean we'd have two PE sections, one in 6th grade, one in 7th grade, and for sure over 52 students for 7th grade and probably near 50 students for 6th grade.
I'm gonna ask this before somebody else does. What's the .33 equate out to time-wise?
2 classes.
2 classes.
2 classes, 4 classes.
How do you get this overload or what?
I would prefer not to use an overload, so that
It's more expensive.
it's more expensive when we move towards an overload. You know, we potentially have an assistant who might have certification in our building already that we can use for that role. Otherwise, there might be someone out there who's looking for a PE job that'd be willing to take this. Initial 1 year, it is just a 1 year deal. You know, we do have some assistant openings, so we can blend that with, they would have that .33 FTE on the contract with that, and then we can use them in an assistant role in one of our programs.
Possibly, so, something.
Yeah.
Yeah, if somebody changed, you open something on a resume.
Do we have a consensus to bring this up? Y'all think so?
Thank you.
Next, we have the ombudsman contract renewal, and this is an action item. That the Board of Education approve the ombudsman 3-year contract with the adjusted 1.5% increase each year of the contract. Christie.
No more say.
That's
There you
it.
go. No, that was great that they were able to work with us, so.
Well, thank you, that's
Yeah, first of all,
great, and to get us a 3-year at that rate.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep,
So-
good job.
okay. So, motion, yeah,
Second.
discussion? Other than great jobs, Christie?
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Okay, roll call.
Valerie Pena Hernandez. Craig Smith.
Yes.
Howard Solomon.
Yes.
Fred Davis.
Yes.
Jeff Algren.
Yes.
Terry Millat.
Yes.
Victoria Newport.
Yes. Okay, next is student services, TOSA, extra summer days. This is an action item that the Board of Education approve the additional 20 summer work days for the student services TOSA to collaborate with student services department. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Fred Davis.
Yes.
Jeff Algren.
Yes.
Terry Millat.
Yes.
Victoria Newport.
Yes.
Valerie Pena Hernandez. Craig Smith.
Yes.
Howard Solomon.
Next, we have additional high school counseling summer hours, and this is an action item. That the Board of Education approve the high school counseling hours, 90 hours per counselor at a per diem rate for the 2017 summer session. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Jeff Algren.
Abstain.
Terry Millat.
Yes.
Victoria Newport.
Yes.
Valerie Pena Hernandez. Yes. Craig Smith.
Yes.
Howard Solomon.
Yes.
Fred Davis.
Yes.
Next is middle school summer work for middle school counselors. This is also an action item. That the Board of Education approve summer hours for the middle school counselors to transition 6th graders into middle school, setting, prepare advisory lessons for the upcoming school year, and orientate new Dekalb students and families into District 428 for an approximate cost of $9,875. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Terry Millat.
Yes.
Victoria Newport.
Yes.
Valerie Pena Hernandez. Craig Smith.
Yes.
Howard Solomon.
Yes.
Fred Davis.
Yes.
Jeff Algren.
Abstain.
And with that, the meeting will be adjourned. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.